now we're on the start with the men's singles. It's the Diamond Challenge Cup Open men's singles. We've got Scott from New Zealand and Secher from Denmark, and they've got away cleanly.
Again, you can see from these angles, this is when it's really deceptively hard to explain why. Going in a straight line off the start at Henley is more challenging than you think. You've got an island on one side, but the river actually moves away from you and back towards you on the far side. So with that peripheral vision that these scullers will be having, you don't have the straight lines you're used to. So often you see a bit of the zigzagging we've just seen. They both settled in nice rhythm, nice straight lines now.
So in the front of our picture, we've got Bastian Secher. He's the Danish single sculler, men's single sculler, got a pretty solid erg, 5:47 erg, under 23, bronze medalist, 4th in the A final at Poznan. So he's got some form and he's got some momentum, and he's got momentum here at Henley as he starts to open up a lead over on the far side, James Scott in the distinctive black of the New Zealand rowing team.
Yeah, it's already a nice gap opened up there. And again, we always say that single sculls, things can happen very quickly. They're small, light boats where you can change speed quickly. But this is the kind of gap, if you're leading in this race, it starts to feel, I want to use the word comfortable. I don't know if it's ever comfortable racing a single scull, I'll be honest. But you start to feel this is the kind of gap that, okay, you can set a little bit. You can keep an eye, obviously, always on the opposition, but you're getting into a place where you want to be in this race, that you can just not necessarily take the tempo down, but you don't need to do any more. You don't need to do any drama to get back ahead, and this is just what you need if you're leading.
Yeah, so picking up the race live, and you can see that Bastian Secher from Denmark, the Danish sculler, is now in a comfortable position. Behind him, you've got James Scott from New Zealand. And Secher came 4th in the A final at Poznan, and Scott, well, he won the D final, and so I think they would both have expected this. It's quite hard to prepare for a race like that if you're James Scott. As you said, Catherine, you've got to take the race to the other sculler, but I think he didn't get a sniff really of Bastian Secher. He was determined to put his marker down straight away, wasn't he? And
I think this is always the challenge in sort of, you know, racing when it's just two boats in the race. Obviously, they're both used to international races, and when you've got, you know, 6 boat finals or 6 boat A, B, C or D finals, there's a lot of different things will be happening across the whole field, whereas this you're against one person, and if that one person is at a higher standard to you, it's very little you can do, and you know, it becomes a real mental battle. I always think this type of racing is as hard physically it is, it's equally matched by how testing it is sort of mentally and for your own character, because you are behind, and there's, you know, it's very hard to feel when you're on your own who else you can pick up of, who else you can race. So, you know, it's why I always think it's really impressive seeing the person who is behind in the Henley Regatta still absolutely fighting every stroke.
Somebody who loved crew rowing with other people and hated single sculling, I think there's either something extra or something missing in the mentality of a single sculler, because it's one thing to be putting yourself under pressure and feeling that everyone else around you is doing the same, and therefore you want to do it for them, and it's another to be on your own, and if you feel like, well, okay, I can't win this, then why would you continue? But that is the mentality of the single sculler, and that makes for some of the best racing we've had. I remember races here where we've seen, you know, world champions come from behind and row through. We've seen people stop altogether in front of the enclosures, just absolutely spent. But that's not the case here for Bastian Secher. He'll be very happy to have tested out his start phase and had a lovely long scull down the Henley track, getting used to the water, getting used to what's very different. The crowds that we have here are unique. Many rowing races, you don't have crowds anywhere near as close at this size or this close to the track.
No, absolutely, it does feel different. And James Scott, we can see in the background there, he is also taking his rate down. He's comfortable. That's the result for today, and he'll have other fights to come in the future.
So Wairiki's sculler, James Scott from New Zealand, he's been tested against a stronger Dane, and he's enjoyed the chance to compete here at Henley. He's hoping to be in the quad for the New Zealand team, but there's a confirmation of our results. So that was James Scott from New Zealand was beaten by Bastian Secher from Denmark in the Diamonds.